Hey there. It's been a little while since my last video, so I thought I would just do, a typical sound assortment and a bit of rambling. I realized when going back to see what my last video was that I haven't uploaded a video since the northern lights were visible. So I haven't had a chance to talk about that yet, but it was pretty cool, so I'm going to talk about it. We're just tapping on some soap. Well, I guess it's, it is soap. But it's not like a bar of soap, obviously. My nails have gotten pretty long, so we're going to be doing some fingernail tapping while I have them. Some up to the camera tapping. It'll be a little bit of everything, maybe. Anyway. So yeah, I haven't uploaded in a while. Sorry, okay. It's been really rainy here. This past week, the whole, last week, it was rainy, every day. And that on its own isn't a terrible thing. I mean, I've stated before that I use natural lighting as the lighting for my videos because I don't have lights. I mean, I have this light that my brother got me, and it does work. But I definitely prefer making videos with natural light if I can help it. And so when it's rainy, there's less natural light. So I'm just kind of in less of a mood to make videos when it's rainy. But that on its own isn't necessarily, that bad. Oh, shit. You know what I just realized? The gain was turned down. Alright, well. We're just gonna roll with it, okay? Hopefully that doesn't fuck up the video. Okay, anyway. That on its own doesn't make me want to not record. I mean, it contributes, but it's not the only thing. We were having a lot of thunder in the rain we've gotten this last week. And it was pretty loud. It was right outside. It was like a monsoon. It was raining really hard. I mean, I haven't really watched many ASMR videos that do this, but I am pretty sure that it is at least somewhat of a ASMR trope to have rain sounds in the background because a lot of people find that relaxing. But I don't think a lot of people would find intense rain and thunderstorms very relaxing. It was coming down hard. It even started hailing at one point. It was a lot of rain. I don't know. Things happen, But I'm here now. And yeah, we saw the Northern Lights. We only saw them for one day. It was the day after I guess the day before I made that post to the community tab. We didn't see them any other day. We went out the next 2 days to see if we could see it again, but it never happened. So it was just that first day we got lucky. But it was pretty cool. And by pretty cool, I mean it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I know that probably not everyone saw it, And so if you didn't see it, I am sorry. I'm not trying to like rub it in, but you know, it's like, it's a cool thing that happened. I'm not gonna not talk about it, you know. It certainly wasn't as crazy as like, you know, I've seen time lapses of people up in like Greenland or something, you know, where it's like just the whole sky is filled with them. It wasn't quite that. It was fairly muted, but there were moments where it like really, you know, started blowing up. But it was pretty fleeting. For the most part, it was just a general like coloration in the sky. Where I was, they were pink. You know, typically I think of northern lights as being green, but we didn't really see any green northern lights where we were. It was all pink. I don't know what affects the color. I was looking up what causes the northern lights after the event just because I wasn't 100% sure. I thought it had something to do with the magnetic field of the Earth, but apparently it's charged particles from the sun interacting with gases in the atmosphere. I think what I had thought was, you know, the magnetic field's influence. I think what the magnetic field does is it like deflects those charged particles more towards the poles of the planet, which is why you typically think of the northern lights as being something that occurs, you know, at higher latitudes. Northern lights, you know. I think that's correct based on what I've looked into. But yeah, so I guess, you know, maybe the amount of charge in the particle, or maybe it probably has to do with the gases that it interacts with that makes the color the certain color. But either way, the ones we saw were pink. And there was like just a general like pink haze in the sky. And then every so often you would see like an actual like stripe appear, you know, like a more like tangible thing that you could see in the sky rather than just like a general color. But it was very cool. It was very cool. The one thing that was interesting, and I didn't actually know this, so, you know, you see pictures of the northern lights and they're these super vibrant things. My brother went to Iceland a little while ago. I think it was in like December or something, around that time. And he saw the northern lights when he was there. And he said that they appeared to his naked eye as just like a white smear in the sky. But when you would take a picture of it, it would appear green to the camera. And he told us about that, and we were all kind of, by we, I mean like the rest of my family, we were all like kind of shocked to a degree. I mean, as shocked as you can be about the northern lights. Because, you know, you see all the pictures and you imagine that that's what it would be like to see it in real life. It would be this vibrant show of colors, you know. But yeah, he was like, yeah, it was just white. And when we saw them here, you know, like I said, there was a general pink haze that we could see with our naked eye. It did show up more vibrantly to the camera, but, you know, we could still see the pinkness with our naked eye. But whenever the, like, actual, like, stripes would appear, whoa, did you hear that? That was my wrist. Whenever the stripes would appear, they were much more desaturated to our naked eye than the general pinkness, and also to the camera. When you would take a picture of it, it looked like the most vibrant thing in the world on the camera, but it really wasn't that vibrant in real life. When my brother told us about that, I looked into it, and apparently it's pretty common to not be able to make out as much color when looking at them with your naked eye. But I couldn't tell if that was like an intrinsic property of the northern lights, or if it was because of light pollution. It seemed like there were conflicting answers online about what it was exactly, so I'm not 100% sure. Obviously here we are surrounded by other lights and street lights and stuff, so there's a decent amount of light pollution. And where my brother was in Iceland, he also had quite a lot of light pollution just from where he was. He wasn't about to backpack up a mountain in the tundra. So they were still in the city of Iceland. I don't know. They've got weird names for their cities. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce them. But yeah, that's kind of, you don't think about that. You see the pictures and you imagine that that's what it would be like to see it in real life. And on top of it just not really being the case, it's also, you have to consider the fact that an artist is probably going to touch up their pictures, even after the fact. So the camera's going to pick up the color better than your naked eye can anyway. And then the photographer is going to take that picture and boost the saturation to make it more magnificent, so it's like a double whammy of lies. No, but it was still super cool. There were a few moments here when we were looking at them that it really, like I said, you could really see the movement. Because for a lot of it, like I said, it was just kind of the general pinkness of the sky. And then there were some moments where you would see the streaks form, but they were pretty static appearing. But then there were only a couple moments, but they lasted a decent amount of time, maybe 5 to 10 seconds, where you could really make out the movement, they were rippling through the sky. It was really cool. And it was wild to have had the opportunity to see it from our front yard, because we don't live anywhere close to where I would have imagined the northern lights would have been visible. In fact, I didn't even know that it was possible for them to even be visible where we are. I guess a lot of things just coincidentally happened that made it possible. Obviously, it's pretty rare. But yeah, I kind of figured that it was a 0% chance of happening. But I guess it's a 0.00001% chance or whatever, Maybe not that rare. I don't know. But it was very cool. It makes me wonder that, if it was visible from where we were, how crazy was it if you were somewhere where they normally appear, I never really heard anything about that. So I don't know if it actually does work that way, where because it's visible here, you would expect the intensity of it to be really high where it is normally visible, because it would just be going crazy, That would be my expectation, but I'm not actually sure that it works like that. But if it does work like that, then that would have been crazy to see that. Talk about once in a lifetime opportunity. Although I don't know how often huge solar storms like that happen, so I don't know, maybe it's a fairly common thing. It would be pretty crazy to live in a place where the northern lights are pretty common, and just to have the ability to see that basically whenever you want. Some people they live lucky lives. Granted, I mean, I'm not sure I would really want to live in a place like that, because you would have to live pretty far north in the cold, and I don't like cold weather, so it's a give and take, as with anything in life. There are pros and there are cons, and that's a pretty big con. I mean, the Northern Lights were cool, but I don't know that it would be worth it for me. Maybe if I was like a billionaire, I'd have a house like way up north in Alaska, like a private runway, just to land like a little Cessna, see the Northern Lights and then pack up and leave, So when I become a billionaire, I'll do that, yeah. But it was very cool, very cool. I feel very lucky to have gotten to see it. It's crazy too, because I totally would have missed it if, my sister was here, because she's home from college for the summer, and I was just in my room watching YouTube or something, I don't even remember, and she knocked on my door and she was like, "Hey, we should go outside." And I was like, "Why should we go outside?" Because it was like 10 o'clock or whatever. But I went out there, and that's when we saw the Northern Lights. It was pretty cool. Apparently she had been informed by one of her friends who wasn't even in, nearby at the time. So it was just a lucky thing, a lot of luck. It easily could have happened without us even knowing it had happened, or obviously, it kind of became news by like the next day, but by then it would have been too late, because like I said, we went out there the next few days and we didn't see anything. It was funny because on the third day, so, we went out on the first day and we saw them. Then we went out on the second day and we didn't see anything. And then we went out on the third day. And on the third day, we kept seeing what looked like the Northern Lights. We were like super convinced that they were Northern Lights. But then I would like take a picture of it with my phone, because it has like better night vision than we do, because, you can do like slow shutter and everything. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure those are just clouds. But it was really ironic, because these clouds were like exactly shaped. Like they weren't like big puffy clouds or anything. Like they were these super thin, narrow little slivers of clouds. It looked exactly like the Northern Lights, especially to your naked eye, because like I said, the like streamy Northern Lights looked very desaturated to your naked eye, and a cloud is just white anyway, so they looked very similar. So it was like, oh my gosh, there's one right there. And then I'd take a picture of it and be like, yep, I don't think that is one. So I'm pretty convinced we didn't actually see any on the third night. But we definitely saw them on the first night. So yeah, you'll have to let me know if you got to see them, because it was pretty cool. But I think that's probably going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching and listening. Yeah, until next time, I'll catch you later.